Hey guys, LongHaul Larry, Big Blue. We are empty at Walmart, Sterling, Illinois. So I'm off to my next load. Got all empty out of Walmart there. It took about 3 hours. And we're gonna head north. I got an interesting story. I don't think I've told this one before. May have, not really sure. It was on this highway. And I was independent. I was an independent trucker. And I used to run loads for DuPont in the wintertime. They actually pay really well. And they're super light loads. Easy money. I would do loads down into Chicago. And then I would pick up these loads. Picking up at this place. It was out in the west suburbs of Chicago. Kind of. It was just off where the 355 ends. And I go into this place and it was a paint place. It was DuPont. And I used to deliver loads of paint to Home Depots. And I would usually have like 3 to 4 stops. And a lot of the time on the loads that I would do, my last stop would be over here in Rock Island. And they would hire reefers. We would get these loads because the paint it was protect from freezing, so they would have to put these paint loads on reefers in the wintertime just to keep them from freezing. And I used to do all these loads, and then one of my stops would always be up in Rockford at a Old Dominion place. I think it was Old Dominion or FedEx, I can't remember. And I would deliver in there, and they would usually get the bulk of it. They'd usually get like 3 pallets, and then they would go off and deliver to different stores. But anywho, they were pretty good paying loads. They paid pretty well, and real light loads and everything, easy. And I got paid, I think it was $75 each stop for unload, and it would be like 1 pallet. You just grab a pallet jack, go in there and pull the pallet off, set it on the floor, and the lady would come over and look at it, sign your paperwork, and away you go. Well, I was coming back from one time, and I emptied out in Rock Island, which is almost pretty much in Iowa. And I was heading back, and I was probably maybe about 20 miles running up this highway right here, and I was driving along, and there was a car that was coming up alongside of me. And I noticed the car. I saw the car coming in my mirror. Knew the car was there. Everything was fine. Just driving along. Just a pretty boring day. And then all of a sudden, something just tripped in my mind. And it was like, something's not right. And all of a sudden, I looked up, and I saw it. And it was a car coming straight at me. And I just went, what? It was kind of like driving down the highway and you see a tow truck hauling a semi. I don't know if you've ever done that to somebody, maybe traveling on the road and somebody's sleeping in a passenger side, and you pull right up behind a semi and then you go, ah! And the person wakes up, looks, and there's a front end of a semi coming at them, but it's actually going the same direction. It was kind of like that. It was like, I didn't really believe it for a second. And I knew I had this car that was right coming up alongside me, and they were kind of right up alongside my hood. And all I did is I just moved over just like this. I just moved over just a little bit. I just turned over a little bit like this toward the shoulder, and the people in the car they veered over to the other shoulder, and the car went right in between us. And the car was doing 100 plus. It was flying. It was just like a blur. It was just boom, it was gone. But the problem was the car that was right alongside of me, it scared them so bad, they turned too sharp, and then they were going towards a ditch. They were going towards a ditch, and they turned back, and it was kind of a wintry kind of mix, but it wasn't really icy, but there was a little bit of stuff on the road, and they must have caught a little slick spot, and it put their car into a slide. And their car slid right in front of me, sliding sideways down the highway, sliding down the road, and I'm going right at them. And I was laying on the brakes, trying to stop. They're sliding sideways right in front of me, and there was a man and a woman and a child in the back seat, and I could see their faces plain as day. And the woman was staring up with the biggest eyes I've ever seen, looking right at my grill, just staring at it. And you could see she was just ready to just scream. I mean, it was everything. She was scared. And I was able to get it stopped enough, and I kept slowing down, and they came to a stop, and I came up and I stopped, and I was probably about maybe 3 feet away from them when I got stopped. And everything came to a stop, and I just breathed, and then all of a sudden, the people in the car, the guy looked over at me, and you could tell he was trying to get his wits, and he was looking around and stuff, and he put his car in gear, and he pulled over on the shoulder of the road.
Shut your brakes off there, Stunner.
And I pulled up in front of him, and I pulled over. And as soon as I pulled over, on the other side of the highway, over on the other side here, there was a police car coming along, probably doing 50, 60 miles an hour, with his lights going, just driving, all casual, just driving down the road. And he went down a little ways, and then he cut across the highway, and he came back to us. And when he came pulling back up to us, he stopped by the guy. He pulled right behind the guy in the car, and he talked to him for a second, and I got out my truck and I started walking back there, and I had calmed down by the time, I was all okay. And I had stopped, and I went back and I was talking to the people, then I went back to my truck. And when I was coming back, I came walking back, and the cop looked at me, and I'm like, that guy, I don't know who it is, but it's going the wrong direction, and we almost had a head-on, and I almost killed these people. And the cop just looked at me and goes, yeah, I know all about it. And he was the rudest cop I've ever seen in my life. He was so bad. And I mean, he was talking to the people in the car. The woman was crying and everything else. I mean, she saw her light flash in front of her eyes, and she was hysterical. And he was just so rude with her. And I went over by the people, and I sat there talking to them, and she was all crying, and she was hugging me, and she's like, I thought I was dead. And the guy was like, man, all I can think of is you were going to hit us. And I'm like, hey, it all worked out. We're all good and everything else. And we sat there talking for a little while, and the police and everything came walking up to the people in the car and told them, and we were all standing there, came walking up to them and said, you all need to move. You're a nuisance on the side of the highway, and you could cause a problem. That was it for me. I got up in that cop's face, and I laid into him. And told him, that he was just the most inconsiderate person I've ever met. These people almost died. They're hysterical. I almost killed them. I'm a little bit worked up. and you're just basically the biggest butt I've ever met in my entire life. And I told him, I said, if you want me to move, you need to call your supervisor and get him out here. And a guy huffed and puffed at me, turned around and walked back to his car. And a little while later, a couple more police did show up. Me and the people, we sat there talking for a couple minutes. And the other police showed up, and then they came up by us, and a cop came up and asked if we were doing okay and everything. And I'm like, yeah, you know, and the people like, calm down. And I'm like, yeah, everything's okay. I said, I guess I'm going to get out of here. I said, I guess you don't need a report or nothing. I said, the other police officer, he doesn't seem to care to even hear anything that's being said. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. And he was like, yeah, he goes, I heard about it. He goes, he's called in to the supervisor, yelled at the supervisor that he couldn't get you guys to move and all this other stuff. And then the supervisor called him and was talking to him and told him that he needed to shut up and everything and just relax, and was yelling at him. And he goes, and then we came out, and I said, well, that guy was really rude. And he goes, yeah, I apologize for that. He goes, he was probably kind of worked up. He goes, because he started pulling the guy over, and he said the guy just ran right across the middle of the highway. He jumped from one side of the highway to the other and just took off. And he said he chased him for a while, but then and he was reporting what was going on, and the supervisor came over the line and told him to stop the pursuit because it was causing a danger. And and the guy was going down the wrong way in the highway. And criminals know that if you cause a big enough hazard, the police will actually back off, and that's what he did. And they said that they've had a lot of people that there's drugs running, that they've been catching people with drugs running out here on this highway. And they said they've been trying to connect it, where it's coming from, where it's going to. And they figure that that's what was going on, that the person had drugs in the car, and that's why they took off. So I was like, no problem. And we sat there talking for a couple minutes, shook everybody's hands, and I took off. So it was quite the ordeal. But we are heading up. I'm actually going to head to the house. And I think we're going to head to the house and shut down there. And I'll catch you guys later. Well, guys, we made her home last night. Was actually in a snowstorm. Snowing pretty good here. Trying to drive on this side of the driveway to kind of knock the drifts down. But we made her home last night, and I tell you what, it's pretty crazy. Hopefully I don't slip down into this ditch right here. Yeah, I'm going to. Too much ice. I was down in Illinois, took off from there. I mean, wasn't even wearing a jacket down there. It was like 40 degrees down there. And I drove up here, and I got about a couple miles away from here, and the snow was snowing like crazy and everything else. And rolled into the farm there, and I actually didn't even go and heat my camper up. I just slept right in my truck. And woke up this morning. I was going to do a couple little projects, and I was like, man, it's cold in this camper. And I kept turning my little bunk heater up higher and higher and higher. And finally I got up and I fired the truck up, and it was 3 degrees. I was like, really? I'm now sitting out here working out here, 3 degrees and stuff. This can wait. So I'm heading up to DePere, Wisconsin, and I'm gonna pick up a load, and this load will be heading to Tyler, Texas. Alright guys, we are up here at WL. I'm actually over at the Heritage Building and getting loaded. And back to the door 3 and getting loaded. We're going to be heading to Tyler, Texas. It's really crazy. It's at my house. It's like super cold and everything else. And I drove up here. It's like an hour. Drove up here. It's like 20 degrees. I don't know what's going on. I got a polar vortex that just hangs out at my house. But I do have a couple packages, and then we check this out. This one here is from Lawrence Orr from Lompoc, California. And this one is addressed to Johnny Jr. Johnny the Chicken, it says. So I think you're going to need to get your own mailbox pretty soon if you keep getting packages like this. That's what I'm thinking. I kind of know how my boss feels now. Get packages sent to him that are addressed to me or whatever. Gonna have to get Johnny's own mailbox soon. There we go. Didn't open. What in the world is this? It's a bunch of cotton balls. Let's see what the note says. This is for Johnny. He can now speak back at you or mouth off to you or run his potty mouth at you when you give him crap about the chicken loads. And the lips are the best part when he wants to give you a great big smooch. Good luck with that. I'm gonna get a little concerned. And he said, also, please go out of your way to show more trains. Yeah, I know. What in the world is this? It's the talking pen. It's a big pen. Sure enough, it's a pen. It's a pen in the shape of lips. So I guess Johnny here is supposed to talk. And it has different sound effects.
Oh no! Yeah!
That's quite the pen. Oh, thank you there, Lawrence. I think that's it. Yep. A whole bunch of cotton balls. Cool. Alrighty. This one here came from, I'm going to guess William de Winter from the Netherlands. Let's see what this one is. Ouch. There was a nail. I don't have my knife. Ever since my snowmobile trip, I've been discombobulated. I'm just not organized or nothing yet. I'm getting there though. I'm kind of actually in the works of planning my next snowmobile trip. Thinking about going up to the UP, doing like a March snowmobile trip just for like I got a 3-day thing or something. And I've actually gotten off the phone. I got off the phone with John a little while ago. I'm actually, I was asking if he wanted to come with me and try out. I took him up there and did some trail riding with him. He actually wants to go to. After he saw my stuff from Yellowstone. He actually said he wants to go out there. And that's a typed one. I just think that'd be too much for him. He doesn't really have any skill for off trail. So I kind of talked to him. I'm thinking about doing a little smaller trip up to the UP, and I was talking to him about maybe going up there, and we'll kind of introduce him to some off trail snowmobiles. So. Let's see. Middelburg, the Netherlands. Because you give away the train horn to the boss man, I thought it would be a nice gesture to send you a replacement for that train horn. It's not that loud, but it is a funny sound. In the past, I've always had one on the trucks I used to drive with. I drove throughout Europe, Italy, Spain, Greece, Turkey, Romania, Bulgaria, France, and more. Had a wonderful time driving 15 years. Viewing your videos brings back memories and gives me the opportunity to drive again, only without the steer. Without holding the steer. The same with the mechanics videos. I like those also very much because I was a mechanic also before I started driving and after I quit driving. It was very handy that I had a technical background, and sometimes driving in the middle of nowhere, it is a blessing fact when a man can fix a problem in case of a breakdown. Larry, keep up the good work and stay safe out there. He says it's a Turkish whistle. Let's see what this is. There it is. So I guess the air goes right in here. Hook up the air line, and it's got a little switch right here, electronic switch. Oh, these are cool. I'll have to give it a try. We'll see what it sounds like. Cool. I'll check it out. And he also put in the box a key ring with some little wooden shoes on there. What do they call them? Clogs, I think they call them. Clog, something like that. Cool. They got the little pictures of windmills on them. Thank you. That's cool. I will put those on my key ring. We'll have to see what this sounds like. I'll hook this up. They call it a Turkish whistle. Maybe what I'll do is I'll wire that up inside of John's truck, and maybe have some kind of remote on it or something. Every once in a while I can hit the button. That'd be funny. All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys go. I will catch you guys later. I'm pretty much just gonna get loaded here. I'm thinking about doing a couple little things that I need to get done afterwards, but otherwise I might just run down. I may just sleep down by Illinois or something like that and then run through the night. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. I got plenty of time. I don't have to be there till Monday morning, so we'll see what happens. So I'll catch you guys later. I hope everyone out there is having themselves a great day, a great night. When you're watching this your video, and if you are not, well, we certainly could change that all around and try it all over again tomorrow. I did get my helmet. The people out there in West Yellowstone, I stopped at the house, and yesterday I actually did get the helmet. It was delivered. The only problem is, and I talked to them this morning, they actually didn't even charge me for the shipping, which was like so cool. And the lady was really nice, actually. I actually met her a couple days before that I was over there. We kind of went out one night, and when we were out, they had karaoke, and she was up there singing karaoke, and there was a duet thing, and I actually got up there and sang with her a little bit, and so I kind of met her beforehand, but she was really nice and stuff, and when I called her, she knew who I was and everything, and no problem, I got it. I got my helmet, I got my GoPro, I got the data from the GoPro, I got my gloves, I got my heated goggles, but there was a small little bag, and it had a couple cameras. The camera that I'm shooting with right now, it had a couple of those cameras and a bunch of little SD cards, and that wasn't in there, and I gave her a credit card to ship all the stuff to me, and she didn't charge me anything. She just shipped it to me for free, which was really cool. And I just called her back and I said, hey, there wasn't like a little black bag, a little camera bag that was there too? And she said, no. And then she was like, you know, there was somebody in the store that had one in their hand. It was a little black bag with like a shoulder strap. And I said, yep. She goes, I thought it was kind of a weird bag. And she goes, I saw somebody walking around with one. So somebody must have grabbed it and took it. Oh well, so I lost a couple cameras and some data cards. I guess they needed it more than I did. So, not a big deal. Life goes on. So we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.